Take a moment and feel the room you're sitting in. It probably feels permanent, quiet, and perfectly safe. We walk around every day assuming the ground beneath our feet has always been this stable. But 4.6 billion years ago, the exact coordinates you occupy right now were submerged in a boiling sea of molten rock. The temperatures were so extreme that modern steel and solid stone would have flowed like water. Before that hellscape existed, there was no Earth, no planets, and no sun. There was only a massive, freezing cloud of dust and gas floating in absolute dead silence in the vacuum of space. That eerie quiet was finally broken by a dying star nearby. It exploded in a massive supernova, sending violent shockwaves ripping through our quiet dust cloud. Gravity took over, pulling the material inward until the pressure ignited our sun. Around this new star, the leftover debris formed a hyper-violent racetrack. Rocks slammed together at staggering speeds, slowly fusing into larger and larger meteorites until they formed a massive, boiling sphere. The world we inhabit was born from violent instability, a landscape forged through a relentless series of cosmic demolitions. And the danger was just getting started. Out of the darkness, a rogue Mars-sized planet named Theia was hurtling a collision course with the young Earth. The resulting impact ripped the Earth's crust apart, sending billions of tons of shattered rock into space, while the molten metal cores of the two planets permanently fused together. Earth's gravity caught the ejected debris, pulling it into a ring of rubble that eventually fused together to create our moon. Furthermore, the shock of the impact knocked the Earth off its vertical axis by exactly 23.5 degrees. Without that near-fatal destruction, the life-giving rhythms of oceanic tides, summers, and winters would never exist. That apocalyptic crash is the reason our planet is hospitable to life at all. Millions of years later, a relentless storm of meteorites pounded the planet. Inside those space rocks were tiny, salt-sized crystals of frozen water. Over millions of years of impacts, they flooded the cooling crust to form the first oceans. Deep beneath the surface, where sunlight never reaches, chemical-rich water erupted from cracks in the planet's core. Fueled by constant electrical discharges from the atmosphere above, these chemicals spent eons reacting and recombining. Eventually, they formed the building blocks of DNA, the first amino acids, which slowly organized into the initial heartbeat of life, a single microscopic bacteria. For eons, these single-celled organisms just floated in a toxic sea of methane. Then they developed a biological mutation. They learned to absorb sunlight to generate energy, a process we call photosynthesis. But this process produced a byproduct, a new gas called oxygen. As oxygen flooded the atmosphere, it quickly destroyed the methane greenhouse gases that were keeping the planet warm. Global temperatures plummeted. The entire planet froze under miles of thick ice, creating a snowball Earth. For hundreds of thousands of years, the world became a dead white tomb, nearly wiping out the very organisms that caused it. It is a terrifying irony. Life's very first major evolutionary leap, the ability to harness the sun, was simultaneously its most catastrophic, suicidal mistake. Deep underground, the Earth's heart was still beating. Its internal molten heat finally ruptured the global ice shield, violently erupting into volcanoes that pumped millions of tons of trapped carbon dioxide back into the air, thawing the frozen oceans. The newly thawed continents exploded with biology. Animals grew to massive sizes, eventually leading to the undisputed global dominance of the dinosaurs, who ruled the planet for 150 million years. 65 million years ago, it was a completely ordinary afternoon. The giants were hunting and feeding, entirely unaware of the sky above them. Then, a piece of space rock 27 kilometers wide entered the atmosphere at over 22,000 miles per hour. It hit the Gulf of Mexico with the explosive force of 100 million nuclear bombs. The impact triggered magnitude 12 earthquakes and towering tsunamis. The air heated up to 200 degrees Celsius, and billions of tons of shattered rock rained back down as fire, burning the planet's apex predators to ash in a matter of hours. The sky went dark for years, killing off the plant life. The only creatures that made it through the resulting nuclear winter were tiny mammals, our direct ancestors. Weighing less than 50 pounds, they survived by hiding in deep underground burrows and scavenging rotting roots. When faced with true planetary violence, the heavy armor and massive muscles of the dinosaurs meant absolutely nothing. Real resilience belonged to the small, the terrified, and the adaptable. With the dinosaurs gone, those burrowing mammals slowly claimed the surface. Over millions of years, they evolved into agile apes, living safely high up in the lush green canopy of Africa. But 5 million years ago, the Earth intervened again. A massive shift in the tectonic plates ripped the African continent apart, thrusting up a new mountain range that physically blocked rain-bearing monsoon clouds from reaching the forests. Without water, the dense tree canopies withered and died. Our ancestors were forced out of the branches and down into flat, dangerous grasslands, totally exposed to predators with nowhere left to hide. Starving, they had to see over the tall grass to spot predators. To do that, they were forced to stand and balance on 2 legs. Walking upright freed their hands. Those empty hands started picking up rocks to smash bones, eventually crafting sharp tools, and then mastering fire. Their brains rapidly expanded to meet the sheer physical challenges of the savanna. We like to think of human intelligence as a predetermined destiny. In reality, our massive brains and global dominance are the direct result of a collapsed geological habitat and sheer starvation. Today, that shivering ape has conquered every environment on the planet. We've built towering cities, split the atom, and convinced ourselves we are untouchable. But our supremacy has a fatal flaw. In our relentless push for industrial growth, we are artificially recreating the exact carbon conditions that triggered Earth's past mass extinction events. We are already watching the physical evidence unfold. Oceans are rapidly heating to dangerous levels, and ancient ice shelves are collapsing into the sea. Earth possesses a resilience measured in billions of years. Having already outlasted seas of molten lava, global deep freezes, and planet-shattering asteroid strikes, the planet itself will find a way to endure long after our industrial footprint is gone. Earth is simply waiting to be reborn again. The real question is whether humanity will be able to survive its own